All right, welcome to this explainer. You know, as the seasons change and it finally starts getting warmer outside, we naturally look up, right? We're admiring the blooming trees and all that green. But there's actually a completely silent, totally aggressive movement happening right beneath our feet. It's literally an underground drama unfolding as we speak, and it can seriously mess up city infrastructure and, well, our own homes.
So, what exactly is this hidden threat waking up beneath your lawn? Okay, let's dive into this. We are talking about tree root intrusion. It's this stealthy, long-term issue that kind of just hangs out unseen. Until the growing season hits, then, boom, it suddenly accelerates and turns into a massive structural headache if you aren't prepared.
Section 1. The Spring Awakening and the Search for Water. During spring, a massive biological shift kicks off. As trees and shrubs wake up from their winter dormancy, their underground systems are basically working overtime to fuel all that above-ground growth. As the soil warms up, root tips extend and branch out at an exponential rate. Why? Because they are super thirsty. The plant's demand for water goes way up. These roots become aggressive explorers. They relentlessly push through compacted soil with immense hydrostatic pressure, expanding their network to find literally any moisture they can to survive.
Section 2. The Underground Invasion and the Chain Reaction.
This invisible invasion doesn't just happen randomly. It builds through a very clear four-step chain reaction. First up, winter freeze-thaw cycles physically shift the ground. This widens existing, tiny, microscopic defects in our pipes, stuff like slightly misaligned joints or hairline fractures. Number 2, spring arrives and those roots extend outward in their aggressive search for nutrients. Third, those newly widened pipe defects, well, they allow subtle leaks to seep out into the soil. And finally, step 4, the roots find these leaks and absolutely exploit the cracks. They literally force their way right into the weakened sections of the line so they can tap directly into that continuous water source.
The whole mechanism here relies on what we call a beacon. See, tree roots don't just wander around blindly. They are highly attuned to moisture gradients. Even a microscopic amount of seepage from a pipe joint creates this damp zone in the surrounding dirt. This dampness acts as a literal beacon, actively drawing the roots straight towards your infrastructure. I mean, the roots are just doing their job, right? They're following the moisture. But in doing so, they navigate straight into your plumbing.
Which brings us to Section 3, Signs of a Breach. Let's look at the above-ground clues.
The symptoms are going to vary depending on whether the roots are targeting your sewer or your water lines. For sewer lines, you want to watch out for recurring drain blockages during the warmer months, even if you've literally just cleared them. You might also notice some foul odors coming from your indoor drains, or maybe a localized sewage smell hanging around outside near the ground surface. Also listen for gurgling pipes. Externally, check for suspiciously wet patches near tree trunks or root activity that's visibly popping up at your cleanouts. Now for water lines, the red flags change a bit. Look out for pressure fluctuations, persistently damp ground near your service points, or severe backups right after a heavy spring melt.
Now here's the absolute crucial point. We're looking for patterns here, not just isolated incidents. If a single sink is draining slowly, well, it might just be a regular localized clog. But if you're seeing slower drainage happening simultaneously across multiple fixtures, that indicates a deeper, systemic blockage caused by a root mass in the mainline. Similarly, if you notice wet spots in your yard that completely defy your watering schedule, meaning the ground is soaking wet when your sprinklers haven't even been running, that is a massive clue. It means a pipe is leaking underground and acting as that dangerous beacon we just talked about.
Next up is Section 4. Who is most vulnerable? Let's assess the risk factors.
The likelihood of a root intrusion is basically a perfect storm of two major factors intersecting. On one side, we've got aging plumbing. Older pipes are just inherently more susceptible to structural failure. Worn joints, general cracks, missing gaskets, offset connections from the soil settling, and corrosion, all of this reduces the physical barrier that roots would normally bump up against. On the other side of the equation, we have high-risk landscaping. If you're planting trees right next to utility easements, using irrigation systems that chronically overwater, or dealing with soil that naturally holds on to moisture longer, you are essentially laying out a welcome mat for those roots. When decaying infrastructure meets thirsty landscaping, your vulnerability absolutely skyrockets.
All right, Section 5. Defending your pipes. Here are the proactive strategies.
The absolute best strategy here is a two-pronged approach. You want to reduce the physical entry points in your plumbing and control the environmental conditions that attract the roots in the first place. Put simply, you have to eliminate the beacon.
So how do we put that into action? We'll start with regular inspections to catch that early deterioration. Utilizing specialized camera inspections is a real game changer here.
Visually confirming the exact location and severity of a root mass lets you tailor precise repairs rather than just blindly digging up your entire yard. If you do spot early buildup, get in there and perform targeted cleaning right away. And make sure to seal any known weak joints to stop that moisture seepage. Moving forward, if you're planning any new tree plantings, do it with their mature root spread in mind. Keep them far away from utility corridors. Oh, and for municipalities or large facilities, implementing proactive asset management is absolutely key to prioritizing the maintenance of high-risk pipe segments before major springtime failures happen.
Ultimately, it comes down to this. Spring doesn't create pipe problems by itself, but it accelerates what's already vulnerable. The roots aren't maliciously attacking perfect pipes out of nowhere. They are simply exploiting the long-term wear and tear that's been sitting hidden underground, right up until that massive spring growth spurt pushes those existing weaknesses right over the edge.
So our goal with this explainer is to completely shift your perspective on the issue. We really need to start treating root intrusion like an early warning maintenance issue rather than a full-blown emergency. Catching slow drains and weird gurgling sounds early on protects your overall drainage performance. And crucially, it helps you avoid the incredibly high costs and invasive landscaping disruptions of emergency pipe replacements later on in the growing season.
So, let me leave you with this thought. Are you waiting for an emergency or are you actively managing your roots? This underground invasion is happening right now, whether we can see it or not. Pay attention to those subtle clues, take a proactive approach, and ensure your plumbing remains a closed fortress this spring. Thanks for joining us for this explainer, and we'll see you next time.